Hi, I'm Gabby Wallace, founder of GoNaturalEnglish.com and the Fluent Communication course, helping intermediate English speakers to become fluent and confident for any English speaking situation. What separates an intermediate English speaker from a fluent English speaker are the phrases and expressions that you use in everyday conversation. There are some expressions that you learn in a textbook. For example, why did you move here to this country? Well, a native speaker is probably more likely to ask, what brought you here? What brought you here? This is a more colloquial native expression that we often ask when people move to a new country, a new state or city, or even when you start a new job. What brought you here to this new place, whether it's a new country or a new company? There are many expressions that are just more natural sounding, and I'm going to share several of them with you in this lesson that is a sneak peek, a video from inside my Fluent Communication course. We're talking today with Chuck, my colleague and friend from Japan. We met in Japan, but he's from the United States. You'll meet him soon enough. We're going to talk about different career questions and how he ended up in Japan, what brought him to Japan. And as we're speaking, I'm going to explain the native speaker phrases that he uses. And this is the best way for you to learn, really, is observing and listening to native English speakers speaking, having spontaneous, unscripted conversation, and then getting a little help where needed to understand those phrases and the native speaker vocabulary words as they come up or appear naturally in our conversation. So here's Chuck and our conversation, and I hope that it helps you a lot to unlock those native English speaking phrases. So, hey there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Okay.
Chuck, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm Gabby.
Okay, very nice to meet
Nice
you,
to
Gabby.
meet you, yeah. Thanks for coming over.
Sure.
I'm really excited to talk with you, get to know you a little bit. I know we have some mutual friends online, and they recommended that we meet up, and it's so cool to connect with you.
Absolutely. Well, that makes two of us. Here, do you mind if I get comfortable?
Yeah, sure. Please.
Okay,
Please get comfortable.
Yeah, nice little bed.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? What brought you to Japan?
Okay, well, I have been in Japan for 12 years.
Wow.
But I think I've been in Asia for 16 years now in total.
What?
15 or 16.
Okay.
So originally I'm from the States.
Okay.
I'm from Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. All right.
Detroit.
I'm originally from Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Not
right
too
on.
far.
Right on. Midwest represent.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so, and then originally I came to Asia for martial arts because I was an Olympic-style taekwondo player.
Wow.
So I started off in Korea doing Olympic taekwondo training in Korea.
Wow.
And I was there for several years.
Okay.
And then after that, I was in Hong Kong for a little while. And then from there in Thailand for a little while. And then I came to Japan. And then once I got to Japan, I ended up just never leaving.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm kind of still here.
So you came to Asia to train intensively.
Yes.
What's your style of martial art?
Nowadays, I do, well, as a function of the fact that I work in entertainment and I do film action.
Cool.
I have to know a lot of different martial arts, so I know about 10 of them altogether.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's hear it. What are the 10?
My base is Olympic Taekwondo.
Okay.
I've been doing Taekwondo for 20 years now.
Wow.
I've got a master's rank in that.
Wow.
I'm also a brown belt in Judo, and then I'm also ranked in Capoeira and Kobudo, which is like the traditional Japanese weaponry, and Karate.
Wow.
And then I've done a lot of other kind of martial arts on the side as well. Like I've done a little bit of Krav Maga.
Okay.
Along with my Taekwondo training, I've always been doing Hapkido, but I'm not.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the joint locking type stuff.
Ah, okay.
But I'm not actually ranked in it, so I don't profess to having a rank in it or anything.
Right.
And then little things like Wing Chun Kung Fu and a little bit of boxing, a little bit of kickboxing, and just anything and everything martial arts.
Awesome. That's crazy. You're familiar at least with a bunch of stuff and ranked in several. So martial arts is a big part of your life?
Yes.
Stunts and acting also?
Yes.
Very cool.
So that was kind of the thing that kept me in Japan.
I had a great time talking with Chuck. I hope that you enjoyed the conversations too. And now I'm going to help you by breaking down some of the phrases that are really important for you to know in order to understand American English and to be able to use English like a native speaker. So I'm sure that you could understand the main idea of the conversations. That's great. But the thing that might be keeping you from really engaging in conversation like a native speaker is understanding these phrases that I'm going to present to you now. Okay, in conversation 1, I say, I'm doing great. Now this is not what you learn in your textbook. You learn to say, I'm fine, thank you, and you. But as we know, sometimes textbooks don't talk like native speakers. So I'm doing great is a perfectly acceptable way to respond when someone asks you how you're doing. So let me hear you say it. I'm doing great. Good. Okay, next. Chuck asks, do you mind if I get comfortable? So this is a common phrase that you could use if you just arrived at someone's home and you're sitting down at the table or at the couch or whatever, and you want to maybe sit in a more relaxed way. So people will ask, do you mind if I get comfortable? Tell me a little bit about yourself. So this is a question that I asked Chuck. I want to know where he's from, what brought him to Japan. These are all very common questions for when you first meet someone. So you can use them in any kind of situation, whether you are in a social situation or a work situation. They're really key questions. So I'm going to ask you to repeat them after me. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Okay, what brought you to, let's say what brought you here, right? Since, I don't know, Japan might not be the place where you're living. What brought you here? What brought you here? Okay, great. So I say I'm originally from Minneapolis. That means, in today's day and age where people often move, you may have been born in one place, but you moved to a new place, and maybe you moved several times. So if you want to talk about your birthplace, you can say, I'm originally from, and then your city. Okay, Chuck says, right on. That's kind of, words of encouragement. Very cool to use those words, right on. Midwest represent. So this is another kind of slang phrase just to say, I'm from the Midwest too. So if you have something in common with someone, you could say the thing you have in common. Like, let's say you both play guitar. You could say, guitar players represent. And it's just a fun, modern slang that you can use to express, your common feelings of enjoyment of that thing, or your pride in that one thing. Chuck says, originally I came to Asia. So originally I came to Asia for, I think he said martial arts. Originally is like at first, but a little bit different. It just means to begin with. So originally he came to Asia for martial arts, and then later he started teaching, he started doing other things, acting. So the first thing that he came to do was martial arts. He says, once I got to Japan, I ended up just never leaving. So ended up is the result of something that you didn't think was going to happen. Like, you had a plan and maybe your end result didn't exactly fit your plan. You didn't think you were going to stay in Japan forever or for 10 years or more, but you did. You ended up doing something unplanned. Chuck says, I have to know a lot of martial arts. So he's saying I have to, but when native speakers say have to together, it sounds like have to. So let me hear you say it. Have to. Okay, good. He says, I know 10 of them all together. So all together is a way of saying the sum of many things is all together. So in unison, When you add them all up, it's all together. He says, I've done a lot of other martial arts on the side. So on the side is something that's not your main focus. On the side could be a hobby. It could be something you do on the weekends. On the side. He then says, that was the thing that kept me in Japan. So to keep you in a place is to make you want to stay. So I thought I would explain that phrasal verb, to keep me in Japan, is to make me want to stay longer. I hope that was helpful, and if you're interested in learning more about my Fluent Communication course, click on the link in the description or go to gonaturalenglish.com/pre-reg, and I'll send you information with details about how the course works, when and how to join, and the price. Thanks so much for watching and have an excellent day. Bye for now.